Morning, guys.
What's up, guys?
Whenever you're ready, if you want to make an opening statement. If not, we'll open up for questions.
Yeah, we can open it up from questions. I'm sure we'll get plenty about Syracuse to talk about them and, their staff and their players, but give you guys a little bit more time to ask some questions. And I'm all ready. Fire away.
All right, we'll start things off with Rich.
Hello, you still there?
I'm here, Rich.
Oh, hi. Coach, just talk about the pass rush 7 games into the season, where it is and where you want to get it to.
Yeah, I think there's improvement. If you've seen, Rich, I think one of the biggest focuses that we had is, a couple of weeks back, we had a lot of guys, a lot of quarterbacks scrambling all over the place and getting contained, breaking contain. And I think what Coach Vince has done with that group is they've done a really good job of caging the quarterback in. You haven't really seen the quarterbacks escape on us as much as they had earlier in the season. So we're trying to work a lot of that, and I think they've done a really good job. Certainly rush and coverage tie in so well together. So, we got to constantly talk about generating pass rush, whether it's 3, 4, 5, 6, to help those guys get going. But certainly just overall, Rich, if you look at our D-line, such big improvement of, gap integrity, leverage, hand placement. I mean, again, you look back last week and how much better we did against the run. It starts up front, staying in your gaps and those guys being really disciplined. So credit to Coach Vince and that group for doing a good job.
We'll go next to Andy.
Jeff, off Syracuse for this question, but just election day tomorrow. I know you guys have had a lot of conversations about activism, voting. I know you guys didn't have practice after the Jacob Blake shooting. You won't have practice tomorrow. What was your message to the team, and how have those conversations evolved?
They've been great. We talked about this morning, and I believe it was yesterday. Kind of losing track of the days, but the importance of voting. And I actually brought up, we talked about, again, I mentioned the day that we didn't practice. And I said, voting's such a big step. And, Josh Beekman, obviously a former player here who works with us, he took over the initiative to, educate the guys a little bit, help get them register. We have transportation set up tomorrow if anybody wants to go and vote. And even more importantly, he had a Zoom call for anybody that wanted it on our team to kind of educate them about the candidates and talk to them about the process of voting. So there's so much more to it than just say, hey, go vote. It's, some guy, how do you do it? How do you register? How do you get set up? Where do I go? And then, who are you going to vote for and why? And show them the different views. And I credit to Josh for starting that initiative. And I still think there's so much more we can and will do as it moves forward, but it's a good start. I know a lot of coaches are, angry at not being able to practice Tuesday, but practice today, right? I mean, that's an important day that doesn't happen every year. So let's practice today and make the best of it, not make excuses, and give them the day off tomorrow. And we'll go practice Wednesday and Thursday. So it's an important day. And like I said, Josh did a nice job.
We'll go next to Julian.
What's going on, Jeff?
Hey, Julian, how you doing?
I'm all right. On the same vein, right? Like, this hasn't been like a normal, or has it for you, where you do take that election day and allow players and staff and whoever may need it the space and time to kind of get that done. Has that happened anywhere else before? Is this unique to you? Have you, and how important is it?
It is new to me. It certainly as a head coach, since I've never been one before, but I don't ever recall, Julian, an election day where we didn't practice. And I don't ever recall, truthfully, Julian, being on a staff in my time where, we encouraged and talked about the importance of voting as much as we have. So I do think it is very, very important. It's kind of like what I mentioned to you earlier, Julian, like we can tweet out and we can voice our opinions and we can have meetings, but there needs to be action, right? And I think this is one of those examples of taking action. And it's not just saying you're going to vote, it's actually going to do it and use your right to vote. And I think it's a good thing, Julian.
There's a follow-up. I know you guys usually put the results out Saturday before the game, but did everything come back okay from yesterday, or do you guys find that out later?
From the test, yeah, we all tested negative again. Which again, a credit to the players. I don't know, Jason, that's probably like 6,200 tests now. So you guys could get the number from Jason, but we got the results this morning and everybody was negative again. So I appreciate you asking that. And, I appreciate the article you wrote, Julian. I saw it. I think it was you who wrote it. you talk about the game, you talk about the wins, and you talk about how hard the team's playing in the time we live in right now and the climate we live in right now. For you to write a story about, the biggest win right now, it is the biggest win because it shows the world what people can do when they really work at it and stick together. And I think our team is a prime example of that. So I appreciate you writing that article.
We'll go next to Kevin.
Coach, first time all year, back-to-back road trips, no home game in between. But it's also an early kickoff, again, for the second time this week. I know I've asked you this several times, but the routine factor, is it nice to have another early kickoff this week?
Yeah, it's at 2 though, Kevin. I've never played it. I don't think I've ever played a 2 o'clock kickoff, like whether I was playing in like Pop Warner or in the NFL. I've never heard of a 2 o'clock kickoff. So I think maybe Rich was the one who decided that kickoff time. But an early game, yeah, being on the road, I didn't even think about it like that. But we had to adjust the schedule a little bit. What time we're going to wake up? When are we going to eat the 2 meals? Because it's kind of an odd time. But we'll make the most of it, and we're just appreciative we're still playing football right now.
We'll go next to Dan.
Coach, Dino Babers and Syracuse, I know, are big proponents of that go fast offense, like warp speed, ultra fast. As a defensive coach, what kind of challenges or opportunities does that present to you? And just how do you kind of counter when a team is deciding to go that fast as they tend to have the reputation of?
Yeah, it can be challenging, Dan, especially if you're a pretty complicated defense that relies on making a lot of checks and adjustments. We pride ourselves on getting lined up and playing with fundamentals and technique. And, we have a bunch of calls where we can do that pretty quickly. It's something that I thought about last year when I came back to college football. And, on the call sheet, you have your first, second down calls, your third down calls, your red zone calls, and then you have your tempo calls, right? And there are calls you feel really good about tempo, and you look on the sheet and you can get them out fast. Coach Babers does. And you can see there's times they will go fast and there's times that they won't. And, Coach Babers, everywhere he's been, and he's done a really good job. And Coach Gilbert on offense, they got a really good system. And they can turn it up and crank it out as fast as anybody in the country. So we need to be prepared for that, and we have to practice that. And we have to make sure, we sub guys and make sure we're fresh and can play all 4 quarters if they want to try to go as fast as they can.
And just quick follow-up on that. I don't know if you think that – I don't know how you perceive it, but are those offenses – are those here to stay, or are those something that you think might start to go away or wane or in any capacity, or is that something that's here?
That's a good question. I think people who have a strong belief in it, I think will be here to stay, right? I think it can be very effective who you have. And then I think you got to look at both sides of the ball when you do that. I always talk about possessions and looking at the clock. If you feel like you can run a team out of the stadium and go really fast, it's scary, man. It's really scary. So it all depends on the coach, his philosophy, and what type of team he has. And certainly Coach Babers has had a lot of success with it. So we'll have to prepare for it.
We'll go next to Julian.
It's my fault, Jeff. I should have asked this yesterday. I didn't, so don't get too upset at me. But you play a game like you did yesterday or Saturday against Clemson on national TV, middle of the day. Everybody's watching you. You put a scare into them. You play well. What impact at all does that have for recruiting? You know what I mean? And you put on that kind of show, and people get to see it. Especially for you as in your first year.
Yeah. Again, I appreciate you asking that question because there is importance of that. The amount of text messages and calls that we got, I think look, we lost, and I still feel sick to my stomach about it, and I probably always will. We lost the game. But a lot of players noticed that we are coming, and we talked to a lot of these recruits about, what we're going to be and how we're going to look and what it's going to look like. And I think we gave them a glimpse. Was it good enough? No, it wasn't. We lost the game. But I think they see that we are coming. And I think they see on both sides the scheme we're playing and how even early on in this process that we can hang in with the best team in the country. And I think that excites them. And we've got a lot of positive feedback about that, Julian. So, I'll take that and I'll run with it the best that we can.
We'll go next to Andy.
Jeff, I know you talk about how the process every week is the same, but with rivalry week, 96 years of history with this Syracuse team, was that something about college football that you missed when you were in the pros, those kinds of rivalries, the histories with them?
Yeah, you miss, truthfully, the one thing about college football that I missed in the NFL was the tradition and things like that. Whether you have a big rivalry or whether you come out and the band's playing the fight songs or you win a game and you're singing the fight song in the locker room, and just kind of like the atmosphere and the pageantry of college football. Now, certainly this year it's kind of been taken away. When we went down to Clemson, Andy, and the bus pulled in, it was the first time in my head coaching career where there were fans outside, and I kind of got a little bit of a feel for it. I can't wait for the day that we pull in here and do the Eagle Walk and there's people, because there is something special about that. And I do miss it, and you kind of forget about it. But for sure, there's a different feel on a Saturday than there is on a Sunday, and I missed it.
We'll go next to Rich.
One thing about up tempo is you can have 3 and out in 35 seconds too. So it's
Rich, you're right. And what do you notice about our offense? We huddle, right? And you know what I love to see, Rich? I love to see when we snap that ball and there's like 3 seconds on the clock. Love it, especially when we keep getting first downs, because then you know what happens, Rich? Then all of a sudden 7 minutes are taken off the clock. And that's what we believe in right now. And we're going to stick to our philosophy on that. But the other thing, Rich, too, you notice that what Coach Signetti has done is he's been able to kind of turn it on and off. I mean, we've showed the ability to go really fast in multiple personnel grouping. So the nice thing about what he's done is people think we huddle and we're kind of slow, and then all of a sudden, bang, it's play after play after play, like you guys have seen, and we're able to go up tempo too. So credit to him for that.
Just a quick follow. Brandon Sebastian's play, I kind of got thinking about goal line and red zone. How's that shaping up right now?
The goal line play, I mean, if you look, that goal line series was pretty impressive. If you look back to it, that series, Rich, ETN had a big play, and it looked like he was one-on-one with our safety, Deion Jones, and they collided, and it looked like two trains colliding, and he didn't get in, okay? And we talk about defending every blade of grass and making them earn everything. The next play, Sheeta took their tight end, and he put him in the backfield, and we got him for a loss. So 2 plays right there. Then they came out in a heavier personnel grouping, and we caught and they fumbled, and we capitalized and we picked it up. That was a goal line. No one had stopped them on the goal line. I think I mentioned to you guys when we watched them, it was almost like, just don't let them score too fast. So the Deion Jones, the Sheeta, the fumble, and that's why you never give up. So I think our goal line defense has done a nice job. They've been relentless.
We'll go next to Kevin.
Coach, I want to jump back to Julian's question for a minute in terms of recruiting. Obviously, around here, high school playoffs should be going on, and we'd be right in the middle of it. If they do have a season in February and March, how different is that going to be in terms of recruiting, or is it almost helpful that it's a completely different season that you can watch these teams play?
Well, you'd love to see him play for the sake of a high school senior, think about when we were all in high school and we were seniors. I mean, those were moments you were looking, if you're a football player, you were thinking about since, I remember I was 7, 8 years old. I couldn't wait to go into high school and play my senior year. So I hope just for those kids that they're able to go play football, because it'll be a memory that they'll never forget, playing with their friends they grew up with. For those seniors that want to be recruited, hopefully they'll get a chance. If maybe they're underdeveloped or undersized, to have the ability to show what they can do. And if people have scholarships left, they can give it to them. And then it's going to help the underclassmen get noticed. If a sophomore all of a sudden was 5'10", now he's 6'3", and got faster and developed, maybe he'll earn a scholarship. So it just creates more opportunity. And more important, I just hope those kids can go play with their friends and compete and play high school football.
Just real quick to follow up. Just in terms of planning, how you guys recruit around the country, would it change your schedule at all? If you have to watch some local football in February or March?
Yeah, that would depend on the NCAA, Kevin, if they let us out on the road to do that or not. I mean, it's still right now a dead period till January, which truthfully makes it hard for us. I've barely been on the road recruiting since I've been here. I haven't had any kids visit our campus still, like none. I haven't had really. It's been hard with this class, you know, so we'll see what the NCAA does, and we'll keep cracking and trying to do the best we can.
We'll go next to Emma.
Hey, Coach, excuse me if this has already been asked. I was just in class up until about 5 minutes ago. But Syracuse has sort of struggled with their run defense this year, but it's on the rise. They've improved over the last couple games. Does that change your game plan at all? How do you look to exploit that struggle in the run defense this week?
No one asked me that question, Emma, and I'm glad you actually went to class. But no, you know, we have our system, we have our scheme, and as you guys can see, we've tried to be more balanced, and I think we've run the ball effectively from the Virginia Tech game on. Like I said, it didn't show in the Virginia Tech game, but I felt it was there to the Georgia Tech game, and I thought we did a pretty good job rushing against Clemson. Tony White, the defensive coordinator at Syracuse, does a really nice job. They'll line up with 3 down, 4 down. He moves a lot. He pressures a lot. He throws a lot at you. I have a lot of respect for him. He was actually, when I was with the 49ers, he actually interned with us, and we spent a lot of time together. He's a really good football coach, and he's a good person.
Now next to Dan.
Coach, building off of what Andy asked with Syracuse and the rivalry, I think it's kind of interesting that, you know, this week a lot of people who don't remember the old Big East, who recruits certainly, or I don't think we're even alive in the Big East, or we're too young to remember it at all. But for your perspective, you know, having been played in New Jersey and understanding, coached at Pittsburgh and understanding at least the older Big East, just what's your perspective of Boston College, Syracuse, that old conference, and because I think you might have probably been just out of college or thereabouts, but you know, when realignment all started breaking up.
Yeah, growing up in New Jersey, I mean, Syracuse was all over the place. You remember watching McNabb and all those guys play. You know, they were awesome. And, you know, you remember I was at Pitt for a long time, so I was in the Big East. So I played against Syracuse for the 5 or 6 years, and then the 1 year I was at Rutgers, I played Syracuse probably 5 or 6 times. And I have a lot of memories in that dome, and I don't think they have fans there, but there were some times in that dome, especially up in their press box, which is like literally you walk up the stairs in the dome to get to the box. I mean, I remember having one guy throw a beer at me. I mean, it was loud, intense, people banging on the box. I remember one game, someone held like a pizza box, so I couldn't even see. I was like, this guy's got to get this pizza box down. I can't even see what's going on. But it got loud. I mean, I remember that dome rocking. And, you know, honestly, you want to talk about Syracuse, and I respect what Coach Babers has done. And if you look at his team this year, the quarterback injury, the safety getting injury, a couple guys opting out, a bunch of injuries. I mean, it's a hard year, guys. It's a really hard year. And it's going to – if you look what he's done and then you look at what he did against Clemson the other week, I mean, they're driving with 2 minutes left in the third quarter to go up, and they fumble the ball. I mean, so I told the team today, this is a good football team. It is. And he's going to get them ready to roll, just like we're going to get ready to roll. And ton of respect for them and excited for the challenge.
We're going to take one final question with AJ.
So you mentioned the quarterback getting injured. Tommy DeVito is going to be out. Now, they've been playing Culpepper for the last couple of weeks, but there's a possibility that they might go with a true freshman. This might be the second week in a row that you go against a kid that doesn't have a lot of film on tape. How do you prepare for a quarterback that may not have played yet, or you have no film to kind of to get yourself prepared for a game like that?
Again, and you know, I dealt with this a bunch, whether it was in the NFL or, I mean, you watch 15 or you watch 17, and then I believe 15 is the kid you're talking about. He did a nice job at the end of the game. He came in, threw a couple passes, threw a touchdown pass, and I think he's 7 for 7 on the year. It's their scheme. Again, you know, you have literally 3 days of practice. So it's not like they're all of a sudden going to come out with a whole new offense. So we watch what they do. We try to look at him the best we can. And we just got to do our job. I mean, and I know, guys, you probably think this is such coach talk, but that's all we talk about. It's fundamentals, technique. It's where are your eyes? What do we look like pre-snap, post-snap? What do they look like? Tackling, leverage. I mean, it's all the same thing week in and week out, and we've gotten better at it. I mean, if you watched last week, we tackled. That was our best tackling game. It was awesome, man. I mean, and those are good players. So can we do that again this week? And can we cover a little bit tighter this week? And are we going to be in the right place and not bust when ETN runs down the sideline and we don't cover him? Like, those are the little things we have to fix. And I respect their quarterback, 17, coming in. That kid plays hard, man. And that kid will throw it up. You want to talk about their wideouts? I mean, that team, 3, 4, 14. Number 4 can fly. He's like Zay out there. 3's a really good player. He can run. 14's a good player. Their skill combined, their wide receiver group is as explosive as any group we played. And whatever quarterback they have can throw them up the ball. I mean, they're all recruited. They're all on scholarship. And we're going to go out. We know it's a challenge, and we'll do the best we can.
Jeff, thank you very much for the time today. We appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you guys.
We will have Isaiah McDuffie here coming in right now.